We're told raw computing power is the ultimate sign of AI intelligence. We tend to think bigger servers always mean smarter machines. But I've been reflecting on this lately, and I wonder if we have it entirely backwards. What if true machine intelligence actually looks like self-doubt?
Yeah, that's a really wild thought.
Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're looking at your curated sources. We're tracking a massive pivot in the AI landscape.
We really are.
We're moving away from models that just confidently guess. We're moving towards systems that pause and reflect.
Right, systems that perceive the world the way we do.
Exactly. First, we're going to explore Anthropic's new model. It prioritizes knowing exactly what it doesn't know.
That shift is huge.
It really is. Then we'll look at Google's Gemini Embedding too. That system is unifying the digital senses entirely.
Into one single model.
Yeah. And finally, we'll unpack a rather chaotic week, a week of billion-dollar valuations and shifted narratives. We'll look at those shifting realities on AI job losses. We've got a lot of ground to cover today.
I'm incredibly excited about the stack of sources you brought. The Anthropic news alone is completely game-changing. It challenges everything we thought we knew about scaling.
Let's start right there with this concept of trust. Because raw capability really means nothing if the system hallucinates.
Yeah, exactly.
Anthropic just dropped Claude Opus 4.8. And looking at the timeline, this was a bit of a panic drop.
Oh, it absolutely was. It came out only 41 days after Opus 4.7. And honestly, that previous release was somewhat disappointing.
People found it unreliable for power tasks.
They really did. So Anthropic went right back to the lab. They focused heavily on messy data issues. They basically built a system that actively fights back. It fights against bad inputs from the user.
The core feature they're touting is proactive fact-checking. Early testers note that Opus 4.8 is incredibly self-aware. It actively flags uncertainties in its own work.
Right.
It calls out flawed logic before generating an answer. It even identifies gaps in your input data. This reminds me of a seasoned sous chef.
Oh, I like that analogy.
Yeah, imagine a recipe is missing a crucial step. Instead of just guessing and ruining the dish entirely, the chef stops cooking and turns around. They ask you for clarification instead.
That's a fundamental shift in AI behavior.
It really is. And I gotta admit, I still wrestle with prompt drift myself. 2-sec silence. Prompt drift is when the AI slowly loses the original context. It loses track of your instructions over a long conversation.
Which is so deeply frustrating.
It is, especially when an AI confidently lies to you. It just hallucinates facts to keep the conversation moving.
Right, and that is exactly the core problem they've solved here. It completely changes relying on AI for serious, complex work. The mechanism behind it is absolutely fascinating, too.
How so?
Well, it doesn't just guess anymore. It builds an internal confidence score as it processes. If that score drops below a mathematical threshold, it halts. It triggers a halt and query response immediately.
That makes perfect sense.
Plus, Anthropic launched a dynamic workflows research preview alongside this. That preview orchestrates hundreds of parallel subagents all at once. And they have massive code migrations working now.
Wait, you mean pairing it with Claude Code?
Yeah. If you pair Opus 4.8 with Claude Code today, it handles architectural migrations across hundreds of thousands of lines.
That scale of coding autonomy is staggering to think about. It maps the entire architecture in its working memory. It spots dependencies and asks questions when conflicts arise.
It does. And they also hinted at their looming Mythos model.
Ah, right. It's currently on ice due to strict cybersecurity guardrails. But they mentioned these final safety checks are wrapping up. We should see it roll out in the coming weeks.
I'm definitely watching that one very closely.
So looking at this whole landscape, I have a question. Is this safety-first self-awareness the only viable path? Is this how we build production-grade autonomous systems? Systems that don't need constant human babysitting?
It absolutely is, and here is why. Enterprise adoption completely stalls without deep, undeniable trust. Major companies will not deploy an AI that just guesses.
Right.
A confident hallucination in a legal brief is dangerous. In a medical diagnosis, it can cost millions of dollars. Nobody wants to explain that an algorithm hallucinated financial metrics.
Yeah, that's a total boardroom nightmare.
Exactly. Big businesses need systems that ask for help. They need models that independently verify facts before acting. If you want to deploy AI across a Fortune 500 company, baking that hesitation into the foundation is the only way.
So building enterprise trust means programming doubt directly into the model.
Spot on. Doubt is the absolute foundation of corporate reliability.
If enterprise companies are finally trusting AI because of doubt, The next hurdle is how it perceives the real world.
Quiet.
From an AI that thinks more clearly, we naturally transition to an AI that perceives more seamlessly.
Because a text-only AI is essentially blind.
Right. Let's talk about Google's Gemini Embedding, too.
This is basically the one model to rule them all. It processes text, audio, video, and images simultaneously. Usually you need a completely different model for each format. You have one brain for reading and one for seeing. But this new model handles all 4 formats perfectly. It lives inside one single unified system.
This replaces what developers know is an absolute nightmare. Developers used to have to stitch 3 different databases together.
Yeah, it was basically digital duct tape.
Exactly. They did this just to achieve basic multi-modal AI. You'd have to translate a video into text tags just so the search engine could understand it at all.
Right.
But now you can search with a simple image. You take an image of a broken pipe, you get a specific repair video back as an answer. You don't rely on text tags at all. Beat. Whoa, imagine scaling to 1 billion queries.
Doing that across different media types used to meld servers.
It's completely wild, and it's hitting #1 on the leaderboards.
Oh, it dominates image and video search benchmarks globally now. It's winning at complex coding tasks and text translation. And what's craziest is it works out of the box.
On incredibly niche topics, right?
Yeah, topics it was never explicitly fine-tuned on. We're talking about deep space astronomy imagery. Or even fine dining plating techniques.
It actually beats Google's older text-only models. It beats them at their own text-only game, which is counterintuitive.
It really is.
And developers can start building with this unified system today.
Yeah, it's available right now on the Gemini API. It's also live on Vertex AI. If you've ever built a multimedia application, you know.
The pain is very real.
Running 3 separate databases and praying they play nice is awful. This release is a massive win for cross-modal RG.
Let me just define cross-modal RG for you quickly.
Yeah.
AI retrieving facts across text, audio, and video to answer.
Exactly.
Wait, but I want to push back on the architecture here. Why wouldn't 3 specialized databases be better? 1 built for video, 1 for text, and 1 for audio. Usually a jack of all trades is a master of none.
That's a really fair point.
So why does this generalized multisensory model win at text?
That's the perfect question to ask. It comes down to how the model builds conceptual maps. Understanding the relationship between an image and text is powerful. It builds a much deeper conceptual map than text alone.
Because it actually sees the connection.
Right. By training on images and text in the same mathematical space, the AI learns intrinsic deep connections between concepts. When it sees the visual context of a word, it understands. It doesn't just translate, it truly understands the underlying reality.
That makes perfect sense.
It's like stacking Lego blocks of data. The visual data anchors the text data perfectly. It learns the word spherical and an image of a baseball. They share the exact same coordinates in its brain.
A single brain understanding all media sees patterns that disconnected databases miss completely.
Precisely. It connects dots across disciplines that separate systems cannot see.
Building these foundational brains requires massive leaps in reasoning. It also requires staggering amounts of cash to pull off. We need to zoom out and look at the business landscape.
Unbelievable amounts of money are fueling these breakthroughs right now.
Yeah, and massive corporate realignments are happening as we speak. OpenAI is making some major lineup changes, for instance.
They're officially retiring GPT 5.2 and GPT 5.3 codecs. They're cleaning house a bit. Moving forward, GPT 5.5 will become the default model.
For all free users, right?
Exactly. The older models stay available through the API for developers.
Yeah.
But the consumer-facing side is getting a massive upgrade.
Meanwhile, CEO Sam Altman made a surprising admission this week. He publicly admitted he was pretty wrong about AI job losses.
That definitely caught my eye.
He meant near-term job losses specifically, acknowledging they haven't materialized the way he previously predicted. Let's challenge the timing of this admission, though. Is it just pure coincidence this reality check happens now? This is right before a massive, highly rumored IPO push? Or is this strategic table setting for big investors?
So they don't get spooked, you mean? It definitely feels like careful expectation management to me. When you're asking Wall Street for billions, you clear the air. You don't want unexpected job loss controversies before going public.
Right.
You don't want congressional hearings disrupting your roadshow. You want the narrative to be about productivity, not unemployment. But honestly, look at the staggering money flowing elsewhere.
Anthropic just raised $65 billion.
Yeah, they're sitting at a mind-bending $965 billion valuation.
Yeah.
That is also happening right ahead of their expected IPO.
Their enterprise business is what fascinates me the most. That valuation is not just startup vaporware anymore. Their enterprise side surged to a $47 billion revenue run rate.
That is real, undeniable corporate adoption. We're moving way past just venture capital echo chambers now. And look at Cognition, the maker of the Devin AI coder.
Right. They just raised $1 billion.
At a $25 billion valuation. That valuation is up from $10.2 billion in just 8 months.
The growth curve is almost vertical. Devin now drives a $492 million revenue run rate. Enterprise usage is growing 50% every single month.
People are actually paying real money for autonomous AI coders. They're augmenting their engineering teams actively with these agents.
And the legacy tech giants aren't sitting still either. Apple and Amazon are making huge, aggressive moves.
The recent Apple leaks show a brand new Siri chatbot app. It has long-term memory and document uploads built natively. It features Gemini-powered search directly inside iPhones.
They're baking this intelligence right into the hardware level.
Yeah, and Amazon is preparing to add SpaceX's Grok AI. They're integrating it deeply into their flagship enterprise service. This gives Claude customers access to Elon Musk's data ecosystem.
Even YouTube is becoming a serious competitor in this space. They're going after Spotify directly now.
Right. They added AI podcast suggestions and adaptive playback speed. On-the-go listening just dropped for their premium users.
But looking at all these massive numbers, I have to ask, are these astronomical valuations genuinely justified? Nearly $1 trillion for Anthropic. Are they justified by the enterprise run rates we're seeing?
I really think they finally are justified. For a long time, it was mostly just future potential. But a $47 billion run rate for Anthropic is massive. A nearly $500 million run rate for Devin is huge. Companies are seeing a direct, measurable return on investment. They're replacing incredibly expensive, clunky legacy software with these agents.
That makes a lot of sense.
If an AI migrates 100,000 lines of code, it does it over a single weekend. The cost savings justify the subscription price 100 times over. The math is actually starting to check out.
The massive valuations are finally being backed by undeniable enterprise revenue growth. Sponsor M.
We spent a lot of time on foundational models today. We talked about the billions of dollars funding them.
Right, but how does this trickle down to everyday tools? Let's ground this entirely in reality. There's a fascinating new iOS app making waves called Sesame.
Sesame is brilliant. It lets you talk completely naturally with AI agents. These agents remember the deep context from previous conversations. They can search the live web in real time while speaking.
It responds in a fluid, human-like way, right?
Yeah, it feels like a real conversation, unlike older voice assistants.
Then there's an enterprise app called Pancake. This one really caught my attention in the sources. It acts a lot like the OpenClaw framework inside Slack.
Oh, Pancake is wild.
It essentially makes your entire company autonomous. You can create unique agents with defined roles and goals.
Then they have what they call a heartbeat, right?
Exactly. They run a continuous background process to work while you sleep. Pancake is literally like hiring a digital night shift worker. They never clock out, and they never need a coffee break. They just keep executing tasks.
It entirely changes what a lean startup can accomplish. It really levels the playing field for small teams.
There is also a great new tool called Pitch Agent.
I saw that one. It generates on-brand presentation slides from a simple text prompt. It reads complex file attachments and extracts the core narrative. Then, it refines the presentation via a simple chat interface.
Until it looks exactly how you want it. Google is also pushing hard on the creative front. They just released their ultimate video prompting guide.
Specifically for mastering Gemini Omni, right?
Yes. The guide covers 5 core strategies for advanced prompting. It includes cinematic control techniques and specific camera angles. It gives you pre-made prompts to generate incredibly realistic video.
And finally, on the marketing side, there is Spots Now.
Right. It meticulously tracks who is advertising on every single podcast. It shows exactly what they spend and where campaigns run. It is pure market intelligence.
It's huge for ad buyers.
But looking at tools like Pancake, I have to ask, what happens to human middle management when apps like Pancake have defined roles operating autonomously inside Slack?
Management is completely shifting its fundamental focus right now. You have to stop managing human workflows entirely. You start managing digital outputs instead.
Right.
The role becomes much more like an editor-in-chief.
Yeah.
The AI does all the tedious heavy lifting and drafting. Your job is just to verify the absolute quality.
You ensure the final product aligns with strategic company goals.
Exactly. You're guiding the ship, not rowing the oars.
We are transitioning from using AI as software to managing AI as employees.
That is a brilliant way to summarize the whole shift. If we look at the big picture today, the common thread weaving through all these sources is autonomy. Autonomy built firmly on undeniable trust. We saw Opus 4.8 actively doubting itself and asking questions. We saw Gemini Embedding 2 understanding the world visually and orally, building deep conceptual maps of our shared reality.
Right.
And we saw autonomous agents like Pancake working independently in Slack. We're no longer just building simple chat interfaces. We are building deeply integrated systems meant to operate entirely independently.
It is a profound shift in how we interact with machines. If Opus 4.8 proves that the next great era of AI is about the model knowing exactly what it doesn't know, 2-sec silence, how long until these autonomous models start proactively interviewing us to fill in the gaps of human logic?
Wow, that's a heavy thought to leave on.
Thank you for coming along on this deep dive with us today. Keep learning and keep questioning everything. Out to your own music.